you go.
Bottom.
For free.
That's right.
That's
Yes.
royalty free.
That's right. Because I also kept getting copyright struck every time we use that theme song. So no theme song today, everybody. But welcome to Real Movies. This is the final part in the House of Hitchcock series. How are you doing, Nate and Alex?
Doing pretty good. Doing pretty good.
Yes.
I gotta say, with these five, I mean, I don't know how you decided to do your how you separated them, but we should have mixed a little bit of the popular ones with these, like just separate.
They were release order. They were done in release order.
Yeah, no, I get it. I'm just saying, I mean, if it's in release order, then it's gonna be an interesting conversation.
I'll say this though, I like that these five are together. Because if they were mixed in with the other ones, they would just be at the bottom. At least one of these will be the best one that someone watched out of these five.
Right.
Best of the worst.
So, yes, exactly. Best of the rest. Let's go with that. The best of the rest.
I like
Yeah.
that. Yeah.
But I agree. This one was probably the hardest one to rank because without doing spoilers, I don't love any of these. And I only really, really like one of them. So it was like four that were like, man, I don't even know where to put these.
I agree with Nate. I agree with Nate on that. And to back on him, I will say this. I mean, I know you guys are more into the film historian and all that. This made me paint a thing on Alfred Hitchcock. Like, if it wasn't for the Psycho and the Birds and the other most popular ones or whatever, I'm gonna be honest with you, he's just an average director with this stuff. Like, I get he is, I mean, to everyone's like the best director ever and all this, but honestly, with these five, I'm just like, okay.
It just goes to show whatever production he was working with in the 50s and 60s, is much, much better than what he did in the 70s.
Also, to be fair, these are movies in his career, movies 49 through 53. So, he was 70. He was like 76 years old when he made the last one. So
he died 4 years after.
But still,
yes, exactly.
I mean,
he passed his prime. And I guess when you've told 48 stories, them last five are, it's like it's not as easy.
He totally screwed me up because I was like, this dude, he totally destroyed his legacy with me. But yeah, it'd be fun to talk about.
I think it's a great one in here. I don't think it's I don't feel as strongly as Alex probably, but I don't really love any of these. I will say that. Sure.
I had fun with some of these though. I just think in terms of body of work, not many people talk about none of these at all. It's always Psycho, Vertigo, Birds, Rear Window, like the ones that
last month's.
Pretty much the ones that were like in his prime, I guess, because
I will say one of these did get a lot of these actually have really good reviews, most of them. Yeah. And one of them was a big hit. One of them was a big hit that adjusted for inflation made like $100 million. On a $15 million budget. That's adjusted.
Insane.
Yes. So he was still out there, but I agree with Alex in like the home runs were gone. He hit all he can. At this point, he's bunting and maybe hitting a single if he's lucky with these five.
It makes you wonder if like modern directors now, like Spielberg and Scorsese, if they're kind of in a similar boat now where not all their movies are going to be hits now.
I will say this because I've seen most of Steven Spielberg's stuff. I will say his light was dimming in and out, up and down. Like in terms of popularity, like you go, oh, you're running to the theater to see him, of course, because of his name. Right. But in terms of the project itself, you're pretty much like, is it going to be a hit or a miss? Now, Christopher Nolan, as of right now, the hot commodity right now is Christopher Nolan and Ryan Coogler. Like, to me, if you put those guys' names, everyone's running to the theater to see that stuff. Steven Spielberg, to me, will have like I don't know I'm not speaking for millions of people. I'm just saying is that his track record is not as, look at the Indiana Jones Crystal Skull.
Mm-hmm. That made well. If you're talking money,
no, I'm talking about story wise.
Well, even money, he's still declining.
Yeah,
I mean, The Fabelmans was nominated for a lot of stuff and was very well received, but like didn't make a lot of money. Same with West Side Story.
Yeah,
but then
it's not that they're bad.
Then Ready Player One shot back up again. Yeah, so it depends on. It depends on the
movie.
Yeah, it's like a flavor of the month. If he hits it right with the pop culture type stuff, and he hits that nostalgia, he will make a hit. Like people will be like, "Oh my god, he's back to whatever." But he does some shit that you're like, "What?"
Well, and to be fair to him, it's a great question. I like the discussion as far as like filmmaker. You know, when you're talking like Mount Rushmore filmmakers at the end, Spielberg is still like 19 movies behind Hitchcock, so he's only at 34. And Scorsese, I would say, I wouldn't even. He's vital as ever. Honestly, like every movie he makes is still like fantastic. Yeah. So I feel like he might be the exception where it's like, man, he got old, but didn't matter. Did not affect the quality.
But it did. But it's towards certain age group and demographic. You know what I mean? Like,
sure, I can see that. But
look at Irishman. Irishman didn't go to the theater. It went straight to Netflix.
Right, like, but if you're looking at the his last movie was Killers of the Flower Moon, amazing Oscar winner, and like compared to these, because I'm like, let's compare it with these 5.
Oh, no, yeah.
Like these, I think we're all, without saying which one, are kind of like even the quality dipped.
Yeah, it went really bad.
Whereas I don't think the quality dipped for Scorsese, but maybe the money did because of the way it was released and things. Yeah, so it's an interesting conversation. Maybe we'll do a show on it one day.
Yeah, I will say this though: the only difference between the Hitchcock and Steven Spielberg and those guys, Hitchcock doesn't have the streaming services. Like, it's not like he's gonna do a movie on Apple or a movie on Amazon Prime or Netflix, right? Whereas Steven Spielberg, they could be like, "Yo, we're gonna sign you to $100 million to do this movie," and he'll be like, "Oh, sure," and then it's gonna look like crap. And then so that's the disadvantage, I guess, in modern where we are.
He also
now.
didn't have the filmmakers to learn from. He created. He was
a pioneer,
an inventor, where those guys were able to kind of look back and say, okay, what did these guys do good?
Right.
You know?
Right.
So it's
I feel
all great. I love all those directors.
His life.
No, that's
sorry.
No, I brought it up.
This is the House of Hitchcock. It's relevant.
Yeah. Right. I just feel like it's weird because it's just eras and generations, and you know, I mean, if you will put Hitchcock in this generation, will he still be what he was? If you know, it's a cool discussion, right? Like that Rocky Balboa fight in the Rocky Balboa, like him versus the modern boxer, who will win?
Right.
Like if that's how I feel. Like if you take these greats from back then that passed away, you throw them in our generation with their mindset and skills, will the film be as good or better with our better writers than what they were back then? But then again, back then they were more open-minded. They could do stuff. I mean, there's stuff in this 5 lot thing that we did that I don't think will ever get green light.
And they also had more restrictions back then than they do now. Like they couldn't even show certain stuff like in the 50s, 60s. This guy's making movies. All his movies are about murdering people, and you can't really show too much murdering. So I almost feel like he'd be a horror director.
Yeah, I think so. I think he'll be one of the master. Well, he is technically a master of horror, but I see what Nate means. He'll be like the John Carpenter type director. He'd be like
James Wan. Yeah, as far as like, I could direct. He's creative, camera crazy, but he works in the genre films. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I can see that. Yeah,
it'd be interesting. His technical abilities were like second to none, really.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Even as early as the 20s, man. I mean, remember we did Blackmail, I think, right? Nate?
Yeah, and there was some cool stuff in that movie.
Yeah, it's from 29. Like it was awesome.
Yeah, like almost 100 years later. I'm like, hey, that was pretty neat.
Yeah,
one of these movies has something in it that I was like, wow, I like that. That's pretty cool. So you're right.
There's a lot of stuff in these movies that I was like, why don't they use this type of storytelling anymore? But even in
can't wait to see where everybody ranked these.
I agree.
I'm scared. It's gonna be all over the map.
Yeah,
I'm scared.
But before we get into that, let's give a shout out to KB who couldn't be with us tonight.
Oh, happy birthday!
Oh, it's his
right?
birthday.
Yeah,
Happy
he's out
birthday,
celebrating his
Katie. Whenever your
birthday.
birthday is, yeah.
Yep. It's also on Wednesday was the 126th birthday of Alfred Hitchcock.
Oh,
Wow.
126 years ago, he was born.
And 40 years ago, he died or something.
Yeah, something like that.
43 years ago.
45 years ago.
Well, I
Yeah.
mean, we're not laughing at his death. We're
No,
just
no,
saying
it's
that
just-
40 years. I mean,
He would.
time flies. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, it's
Yeah.
crazy. Like, time flies with every milestone that you see. Even when you watch like when Rich from Faces of Radio putting up those like every anniversary of these movies, and I'm like, really? That came out 10 years ago?
14
Like,
years ago? What the heck?
Yeah. So
Yeah.
interesting.
Yeah, some
Makes
of
you
his
feel
posts
old.
make me feel old.
Yes.
Yeah. And I'm not even old. I'm 27.
Not some of those movies came out, you were 3.
Yeah, I know.
That's true. You wasn't even,
I know.
And it was in the 2000s, and you were a little kid.
and you made a YouTube channel on movies that you wasn't even born in.
Exactly.
So, there you go.
Exactly. Yep. All right. Well, let's get into our discussion, guys, and
Oh,
start
man.
off with our number 5. Who wants to go first?
I'll go first.
All right, Alex.
I'll go first. My number 5 is gonna be Topaz.
Oh,
I thought
already
you were gonna like
different.
that one more.
Huh?
I thought you were gonna like that one more.
I thought so too, but I'm gonna be really honest with you. I don't remember nothing about this movie.
Mhm.
Like, that's what I mean. Like, certain movies, there's a stamp that I will go, wow, I remember a lot of the scenes. I remember like the plot twists and turns. This is the one out of the ones that we did, like out of the 5, that I cannot remember much of. All the other ones I could be like, oh, this is what happened. This one was so hard for me to pinpoint and go, yes. I thought it was good. It was a cool spy genre. It was, again, I think Alfred Hitchcock would have been a dope ass director for James Bond at this time.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
I'm telling you, I'm watching, even out of all these 5 movies, I was like, man, these are like total, like I could name 5 Bond movies that each of these movies were kind of similar taste of. And I would be like, yeah. But this movie, I was not into the leads. I felt like the story developed. It's weird because with him, even throughout all of this, it takes a while for the story to build up, which I kind of get the character development. But man, I'm like, bro, this took a while for me to understand where I was going, and I had to put the subtitles on in some of these things because I was just like, holy crap, especially in this one. So for me, kind of lackluster on this one. So I had to put this as my number 5. I do dig the spy stuff though,
Mhm.
but this one for me fell flat.
Yeah. What do you think of the whole Cuba sequence? That was like 45 minutes of the film.
Oh, that was great.
No.
I liked it, but
What did you score it?
oh, this?
Yeah.
Oh, I give it like a 3. It was good. Like I'm not gonna, even if it's a 5, I'm not gonna go, oh, it's a 2. Because I think directing wise, he still had his whatever year this damn thing came out. But this is 69. So
16.
yeah, so I mean for me, everything was great. I just couldn't, I wasn't attached to the story as much. I don't know. It's weird to say.
Okay.
All right.
Nate, you're
Well,
number 5.
All right. So already we're gonna start off different. Now,
oh boy.
I agree with that score though. This is the lowest score I gave, and I think this might be the lowest score I've given out of these 15 movies. But I'll explain why. My number 5
Can
is
we guess
Alfred.
yours?
Yes.
Let's see, Harrison, what do you think?
I think it's Torn Curtain.
Oh,
Torn Curtain?
Torn
Mm.
Curtain.
I don't think it's Torn Curtain. No,
Okay.
I don't think so. I think it's hold on. I think it's Family Plot. It's not a Family Plot or Frenzy. It's one of those
Okay.
two. What
Okay.
you got?
My number 5 is Alfred Hitchcock's suspenseful sex mystery.
Oh, Marnie.
Really?
Marnie.
Oh,
Now,
we were
I'm gonna
way
explain why. I'm gonna
Okay.
explain. Well, one of you was closer because one of those. But okay, Marnie. I'm gonna explain why. This was this is my second time seeing this movie. This is my second time seeing all of these movies. But I don't I remembered this one and I remembered Frenzy. The other 3 was like almost like watching for the first time. So that's why I kind of agree with Alex and like Topaz and like after watching it the first time, I didn't remember almost anything that happened. So these was like brand new. Marnie, I don't remember having that much of a problem with it the first time I watched it. I think the cast is good, except, I found out afterward that Grace Kelly was supposed to star in this movie instead of Tippi Hedren. And she had already become the princess of Monaco, and Hitchcock, they had talked, they were good friends. And she was like, I want to make a return to acting. And this was the movie he was going to use her for and all this stuff. And then ultimately she ended up passing because she was like, I'm a princess in real life. I don't know if I should be a thief, like on screen. Yeah. And apparently it caused some friction between them. They weren't as much friends anymore after that, because they had already set the whole thing up for her. And then they had to go, and after he made the Birds, he was like, let's just have Tippi Hedren, because this came right after the Birds. So we'll just use her. Now, Sean Connery's in this. He's good. My problem is this movie's aged like milk as far as the themes of the movie. I'm surprised it was kind of normal at the time, but you have this character, Marnie. She's a thief. Okay. She robs jobs that she works at. She goes to super rich employers, steals from them. She has childhood trauma, which a lot of this stuff might it almost would play better nowadays. Yeah. Thinking of how movies like to focus on trauma and stuff like that. Except it's really weird trauma. She sees the color red and she starts like Kill Bill, the screen starts turning all red, and she's scared of lightning, and she's all this stuff. And then later on it's revealed why. And I'm like, I guess. Okay, I guess. And then the whole thing with them on the cruise ship, I'm like, this is supposed to be a character. Sean Connery, I mean, is supposed to be a character that we like. He's not a villain in the story. You know what I mean?
No.
He finds out she's robbing him, but he falls in love with her and literally tries to help her, pays off her old debts that she robbed and all this. But then he also rapes her on the cruise ship. And it's man, it's tough as a movie watcher to see a character do that and then be like, no, you know what? I still like him. You know what I mean? After that, I don't think they did a good job of redeeming him personally. Even though they end up together and all that kind of stuff. I think it's problematic, and I didn't like that. And yeah, just because it was a lead and it was a hero character that did that, it makes it tough for me. So after that, I was kind of I don't know about this one. Everything else is pretty good. I think the direction is good. I love the scene, the way it's shot, where she's in the safe and the lady's mopping, and it's this really wide shot, and it just stays there for a long time. And I love that whole thing. But yeah, I didn't like this one that much. I gave it a 2.5 out of 5.
Whoa.
Wow.
Okay. And Alex said something in our group chat that was right. It gets pretty boring at times. It gets pretty boring. There are moments where I'm like, come on,
wrap it up.
Speed this up a little bit. We can move this along. And all of these movies are long. They're all over 2 hours except Frenzy, which was 5 minutes under. But this one feels longer than it is. So I didn't really like this one that much.
Oof. All right, Harrison, what you got?
Okay. Well,
judging by his reaction, he has this one higher.
I think his is going to be Frenzy as number 5.
Oh, maybe.
No, it's actually Family Plot.
Oh, Family Plot. Good old Family Plot.
Hated this movie so much. I hate this whole psychic. It was so weird, the voice she would do, and it just weirded me out. And I hated Bruce Dern's character too. He's a horrible actor in this movie. And it was just at this point, I was like, Hitchcock, let it go, man.
Yeah.
I think you need to hang up the towel, man.
That was his last film, right?
It was his last film. Yeah. And I was like, this is rough. It almost felt like a TV movie, just the quality of the acting and the camera work and all of that. But it was made by Universal. It's he made most of his movies at Universal, at least in his later life. It's ugh. I hated the car scene where they're like, gotta get out of the way.
That made me laugh. Yeah.
Or another scene where they pass by a car and then the bald guy just sits up. I just laughed so hard at that. I was like, this is a terrible movie. I hate the leads. I actually thought the psychic chick or whatever, I thought she was a 10-year-old girl when I first initially started it, and with the grandma there too, I was like, what is going on?
Yeah.
Just started off on the wrong foot for me. So, yeah, I gave it a 2 out of 5. It was awful.
Whoa.
Hated it.
Holy cow. All right.
Yeah. Okay. Let's move on.
Love it. All different. No one got the same.
No, my number 4. So this one I will say it has the pros and some cons with this one, and I'm gonna go with Marlene, the one, Nate's number 5 is my number
Marnie,
4.
yeah.
Yeah, Marnie. The pros are, I enjoyed it for what it was. Like once it started to reveal towards the end, I was like, okay. Once it picked up and he's like, tell her, and then everything happens that she was the boyfriend touched, she killed the guy, and then I was annoyed most of the time, and I agree with Nate. Most of the time, every time she saw red, and he was like red, and she was like, ah! It was like, ah! Like it reminded me of like, and Angelina was laughing because I was like, man, I would have loved if they did it, but I wish they did like the Wayne's World extreme close up when they were like, whoa, because yeah, because that's what I was thinking when he was like red. I was like, extreme close up, and she's like, whoa, but like that was funny. The thunderstorm in his office when he just kissed her out of the blue, and I'm like, bro, what is wrong with you? Like, you just forced yourself on her, and it's not the first time he did that in the movie. He did that to Pussy Galore in the barn in Goldfinger.
Oh, true, that's true.
But yeah, so like I wasn't too crazy with those things. I don't like the Birds chick, bro. I'm sorry to say, as a lead actress, I did not dig her a lot. I didn't. I couldn't. I don't know. There's something about her. I was just like, why her? I was just like, out of all the actresses, I don't know. I didn't like her in The Birds, and I did not like her in this. But she did a great job towards the end when she started to act. It was boring. The first 40 minutes in, I was bored. Like she going to the bank. She robbed the money, and then she's riding the horse, and then he comes and he's like, get off the horse. And when he's trying to smack her. And I was just like, what is it? Then she was like, go get the gun at the end. And she's like, kill the horse. And I don't know. I feel like this movie, he had some great ideas, but then just bad other stuff. And I don't know. It feels a shame because I kind of enjoyed the story. I do agree with Nate, though. If they remake this thing would be awesome. If they cut out the 40 minutes and make it shorter, it would be.
Don't have the guy rape her. Like,
that was a little weird. Like he totally went
pretty rough.
And he just.
And she looked like she was in a coma, and he's still like, I'm like, ugh.
It's the way he shot it with that first person view of you walking up. I don't know. It did.
Although it was a cool shot, her like landing on the bed like that, all in one.
Yeah.
But like, what was it implying? I was like, I don't like this.
Yeah, I mean, technically they are married, but she
didn't want it.
Well, she didn't want no man. I mean, until we found out towards the end that she was afraid of men. But I gave it a 3 out of 5. I thought it was good, but at the same time, I was just like, man, this is a waste of 40 minutes. I mean, Nate was right, bro. This thing was 2 hours long. And I was just like, rough.
Was it the longest one, or was Topaz the longest one?
I think Topaz was the longest one.
Topaz, I think, is like the longest one.
2 hours and 23 minutes.
Jeez.
Well, no, yeah, but that's the extended one. I think the one we watch is only the 2 hour and 7 minute version.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, there is an extended cut. That's the one that's like listed everywhere. I think Torn Curtain and Topaz, one of those two is the longest one.
Let me see. Torn Curtain was...
They're both like
2 hours and 8 minutes.
Yeah, I think that's the longest by a minute.
And then Marlene was 2 hours and 10 minutes.
Okay, so Marnie is actually the longest.
Yeah,
and it feels the longest too.
It feels the longest. You damn right it does. I'm trying to think. What was the other one? Frenzy? Was it?
Frenzy's the only one that's under 2 hours.
Was 1 hour and 56 minutes. Yeah. So yeah. So yep, he's right on that one.
Marnie. Okay. Well. All right. I gave all 3 of these movies here in the middle the same score, so I'll just put it out now. 3 out of 5. I gave all of them a 3 out of 5. I think they're all, like Alex said about that one, there's things I like and things I don't like about all 3 of them. So my number 4 is actually Torn Curtain. Now, on the plus side, great cast. I love Paul Newman. I haven't seen a ton of his movies, but every time I have, I like him. So
He's a good
I like,
actor.
he's a really good actor, and I like Julie Andrews as well. You know,
I did too.
Yeah,
This is
Mary
cool.
Poppins, Sound of Music, Torn Curtain. Yes. Now, this one, excuse me. This is one that I agree to. Like, this felt like it could have been a Bond movie because it's all about spies and not as much espionage. That's Topaz more of that, but this is like has to do with like the Iron Curtain and traitors and pretending. He's basically Paul Newman is like a scientist guy. He basically defects from America. He turns on America. He's gonna go help the Germans, but actually he's just pretending so that he could get information, like an equation from them, so he could actually go back to America. That's like the basic premise. Yeah. Julie Andrews is his fiance who follows him. He's like, go home. And she's like, nope, go follow you. And then the whole time thinks he's a traitor, but then he tells her the truth, and then they kind of work together. Then they got to escape because then they get discovered. And that sounds like it should be way more thrilling than it is when you're actually watching it. And that's my main problem. It is so slow paced for a movie that has a premise that should be like, that thing should be moving. You get a lot of sitting and talking and meeting people and talking in hallways and going to dinner. And I get it. On one hand, it's like, all right, he really just, like lets things play. But goodness gracious, I think there's an hour, 40-minute of this like version of this movie that's superior. Because I like the premise. I think that's the thing with all three of these. I like the premise of all of them. I think like the idea and the story's good, but the execution just leaves something to be desired. So I love the scene on the farm when they kill the guy.
Oh, yeah.
Great scene. Great scene. I love the direction in there. Even with the camera, like they're rolling the camera into the oven and it's supposed to be like Oh, great. I mean, a fantastic scene. And then they're looking for the body. They're digging up they keep going back and they're digging up. They're trying to find them. It does have some good suspense, which is what he's known for. But everything else just is like, man, this is I'm going to go to sleep. So another one that's kind of boring, but good cast. 3 out of 5. I feel like it's solid. Decent. Those are the words I think of when I think of Torn Curtain. Not like exceptional or great. Just fine.
Okay. Well, what Harrison got?
Okay. My number 4 is Topaz.
Oh, okay.
Yes.
Topaz.
I was super bored with this movie. I really wanted to like it because when you read the description, it's like, ooh.
It's amazing.
Yeah, it sounds like a
great
Bond,
plot. Yeah.
like a Bond film. I was like, heck yeah. But I hated the French dignitary or spy guy. I hated that actor. Not good at all. I couldn't care less about the Cuba sequence. Like, we were there for a super long time, and I don't know. Like, I felt like it took away from the story a lot because the main story was the Americans trying to spy, and it was the French guy doing it. I don't know. I mean, I guess they sent him as the hired gun, but I don't know. I just didn't like him at all, or his family. I don't like any of them. And it just felt so long, even though it isn't the longest one. It felt really, really long and drawn out, and it was hard to like him too because he was having an affair with that lady too down in Cuba. It's like, how am I supposed to like this guy if he
got a wife and a mistress?
Yeah,
wife and mistress. Yeah,
he's got a daughter too, and it's like,
yes.
nah, I don't like that.
Well, his movies are kind of the same tone. I kind of noticed all these 5 movies are kind of similar, like a lot similar in terms of story.
It honestly reminded me a lot of the Sean Connery Bond films in that way, because those are pretty long and drawn out too. Maybe it was just the style of this time I don't know.
It could be men are rapey. They throw themselves on women. I mean, it could be the era, the time of the
Yeah, but to be fair, that character, the woman, she was also hooking up with that Castro-looking guy.
Well,
So
yeah,
like, she was just like, bro, my
yeah.
husband died, and I'm just doing
do whatever.
She was out here just sleeping with the men. So, but I agree. I think like if you put Sean Connery, change the French guy to Sean Connery, and just put him in it a little more like early, let's say, and change the little black French guy who does the flower shop into like what's his Felix
Leiter? Yeah.
Yeah, make him him.
Yeah.
And
No,
it's
totally.
like pretty much a Bond story.
Yeah. Seriously.
Yeah. It's just true. Yeah.
I mean, it seems like Hitchcock was trying so hard to make a Bond film, but couldn't make a Bond film.
I think he was trying. I think he was trying to get like their like attention doing the movies. Like, I could do
this.
Yeah,
do it.
I can do it. Come on, just hire
Call me up.
But they probably also saw Topaz and hated it as well.
Maybe.
So, I gave it a 3, though. It's not horrible, but I just didn't love it.
Well, fair.
I would say with this one coming up next, my number 3.
Number 3.
Again, pros and cons. With this one is family plot. I went with family plot on this one, and I like some of the stuff. I kind of like the humor in this. It was mad funny. I was laughing. I was like, you know what? It had a little bit of the Pink Panther for me in this movie. I felt kind of Pink Panther-ish. Yeah, with the girl that's the psychic, and she's like, "Oh, I can tell." And then the guy is like, he's like ringing the thing to get her attention, and she's like, "Harry." He goes into the kitchen. Like, that was funny. You have some other moments that were funny too. Like the car scene pissed me off when she's throwing her, so she's like, "Ah!" And he's like, "Get off me!" I think I would have punched her in the face, bro. I don't know about you, but I would have been like, "Yo, calm down." No. She was like over.
Maybe Sean Connery, yeah.
Oh, Sean Connery would.
He would have knocked her out.
He would have went like this.
Get off me!
Knocked her out.
Yeah, but that scene, like, and the thing is, what threw me off about that scene was I know back then they didn't have cameras on the cars and they're driving on location, because bro, the scenes with the car, that the camera's doing this with the cars had me on the floor. It looks so Naked Gun. I couldn't stop laughing. It was bad. Like, again, you got those scenes, and then at the end she winks at the camera when she gets the jewel. She's like,
"Oh, I hated that."
It was improvised, by the way.
Was it?
He left it in. Yes.
Yeah.
Look at the little back of your little art card. It's one of the little fun facts. He doesn't like improv at all, and she improved it, and he left it in.
Hey, it worked. It kind of felt cute. That's what it kind of felt very, like I said, it felt like an 80s, like an 80s Pink Panther movie, because that's what it felt like. But I didn't like the whole them going, like, the whole mystery of his, like the death thing, and then they going for the graveyard scene, and then looking for this guy, and then the guy's the jewelry guy, and then is that lady famous for something? The one that was with the jewelry heist with the guy,
Karen Black.
Yeah, was she
She's in a lot of movies.
Yeah, her face looked familiar for some.
She was in
reason.
well, I know she was in the old Great Gatsby, the one with Robert Redford. She was like
that's the one it was.
The mistress lady.
Did it? Yes. Yeah. Okay, that makes sense. Okay, so I was like, man, she looks so familiar. So that's where I think I had her face from. I gave this a 3 out of 5. Another 3 out of 5. I think it was a funny movie. I see where he was going with this, but then again, on the same thing, there was a lot of boring parts in this movie that I was just like, Jesus. But the comedy was funny. I like how it ended. Like, everything unfolds at the end. Again, the same formula as everything else, but to me, it's not top 2 for me. So,
all right. Well, going into this, like, if you asked me before we watched these what my number 5 would have been, it would have been this one. And I agree with Alex. My number 3 is Family Plot as well. I remember not liking it the first time I watched it. However, on this go around, I liked it a little more. Again, I gave it a 3. I think there's flaws, but I don't, you got a nice cast here. Bruce Dern, old horse teeth, he's in there. You got Karen Black, William Devane, who's like, he's good. He was in your movie, Alex. What was that? Payback with Mel Gibson.
That's right. Yeah,
he's the bad guy in that, or one of them, I think. All right. Here's I laughed too. That car scene. I don't care what anyone says. That is funny, and I don't know. I feel like it was supposed to be, but even if it wasn't, it's hilarious. I laughed. Like that whole, just the way it's shot, and he crashed through the pole, and then the way the car just like kind of tips over a little bit. Like, they make it like it's gonna go rolling and it just tilts sideways. That was funny. I like the psychic. I thought the psychic parts were funny when she's like talking to the spirits. Like, she's talking to nothing. Yeah. I don't know. A lot of the stuff Harrison didn't like, I liked. Here's why I think it's good though. The best part, I think the story is really good. It's like there's a lot going on, and I was wondering when I'm watching it, I'm like, how is this going to tie together? Because the movie starts, she's a fake psychic. She's not a real psychic. She gets this information. The lady wants to make an heir out of this, mysterious long lost grandchild or whatever.
Yeah.
Then all of a sudden they're driving and they almost hit this lady, and then the camera follows her, which is a great shot, by the way. How the camera goes from like almost hits her and then just starts following her and it just goes on. And I'm like, what does this have to do with anything? And then kind of the convergence of when it's like, oh, that's the kid. And now he's also a thief. And then and I thought the premise was good, but I agree. There's a lot of boring parts in this movie. There's a lot of boring parts. There's a whole section. It got to be at least 15 minutes long where there's no dialogue. At the end, just like creeping through the house. They're walking around. I'm like, oh. But two of these movies have these sequences like this, where it's like a long stretch where there's just people walking. I mean, they're doing stuff, but it's not terribly thrilling or exciting to watch. But yeah, I think the boringness of it is what keeps it still like at 3, even though I think the premise is fantastic. To me, it feels like Torn Curtain in that there's a shorter, better version of this in there. Because I think the premises of both are really good, but it feels like at this point he was like kind of, maybe it was because he was older, because most of his older movies are shorter than all of these. I mean, it felt like he was just being a little indulgent with certain things, and like, I'm just gonna shoot and have more and more story that some of it didn't need to be there. But yeah, I thought it was pretty funny, and I think it's a really clever premise. So those are the pros for me. But I don't love it still. But I liked it better the second time. And who knows? On a third watch, I might love this movie. I don't know, because I hated it, and then I kind of like it now, and I might really like it. Maybe I'm missing something. I don't know. Has a 90% on Rotten Tomatoes. I know you don't like Rotten Tomatoes, Harrison, but this is old. People really gave a really good review, so I don't know. People like it.
That's insane.
Why?
That's the craziest thing I've ever heard.
Yeah. I'm gonna watch it again in 5 years and let's see what happens.
Right. Oh man. Okay. So my number 3 is Torn Curtain.
Ooh.
Yes.
Okay.
I love Paul Newman and Julie Andrews, but I feel like Hitchcock didn't really know what to do with them, because they had those moments like you were talking about with they're putting the guy in the oven and whatnot. That was a good scene, and I kind of like the beginning part where he has to hide that he's a spy, so getting the telegram or whatever. Like I like those cute little moments with them, but there's just such long, boring periods in between those scenes that it just felt drawn out. Again, I watched these kind of in a random order. So I watched this one after I watched Topaz. I was like, did he just do the same movie twice? Like in a row? Like this movie felt very
similar. They're like, if you were going to do a double feature, those two kind of get paired up.
Yeah. So I was a little disappointed because I was really excited because I love both of those actors. Like I just saw Paul Newman and Cat on a Hot Tin Roof. Fantastic movie if you haven't seen it.
Oh,
but no, I was pretty bored with it, but I gave it a 3 out of 5 as well. So same as Topaz. It was kind of interchangeable, honestly, for me.
I think I read that they clashed a lot, him and Hitchcock.
I believe it. Paul Newman was very, very difficult.
I heard they bumped heads quite frequently. So, I mean, maybe that affected it. I think his performance was good, though. I mean, I think Julie Andrews, I like her, but I feel like maybe she was miscast. a little bit in this kind of movie. She's a great actress, gorgeous, but like I just feel like she's a little more of a cheerier kind of, especially at that time, actress. But I agree with you on everything you said.
It could have worked if the film was like kind of darker and she was like the light side of it. It could have worked that way, but it just
like Doris Day in The Man Who Knew Too Much.
Exactly. That's exactly what I was thinking of.
I agree.
Yeah, I guess he did it.
Maybe if you flip flop them.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? If you put Julie Andrews in that one, because she sings.
That's true. She would have been a way better singer in that one.
Yeah. So, maybe it could have worked that way.
Could have.
I feel like Doris Day also had a face of like that could do a little more serious
role.
Like
that. She definitely do dramatic.
Yeah. Should have flip flop. Hitch. Should have flip flop him. Too bad.
Most of those people are dead anyway. So.
All right. Bad. So my number 2. So if we're going on in this, the first number 2, number 1 are 4 out of 5s.
Mm-hmm.
They're not going to go to perfect. It's just 4 out of 5s going on in. So I could flip flop with these depending on which way I wanted to go with. But with this one, I hated the ending. I ain't gonna freaking lie. I hated that the guy dropped the suitcase and it ended. That deducted. I couldn't take it no more. I was like, oh my God. Like you got me all built up for this one moment. And then it goes credits. And I was like, no, why did you do this to me? My number 2 is Frenzy. It's a good movie. I think it's a very good movie. Certain parts were boring. Again, it had the same problems with the other stuff. The same parts were boring, but there was mad titties in this one. I was like, whoa!
Yeah, I was like, what the heck? I was not expecting that.
I was like, whoa! Hitchcock was like, well, I'm going a little bit older here. I can see some titties. I guess once they figured out that they could show it, he was like, oh, you definitely.
It was the 70s at this point. So.
Yeah, he was like, you best to believe we're going to be showing some titties in this one. But no, all jokes aside, I kind of liked the story. I thought it was very cool. To me, it felt very like watching a CSI episode, but just see it like unfold in front of you. I like that it was the guy's friend killing everybody. And then he threw his friend under the bus. Then he killed the friend's woman. I was like, geez, this dude was just like Austin. He looked like Austin Powers. Like I was like, he did look like Austin Powers. Like, my man Austin Powers is just killing everybody all over the place. I like.
He looks like reject Michael Caine.
He did.
Yeah, totally.
He does look like Michael Caine.
Yeah,
he does. And it's funny because like I like the scene with the potatoes when he jumped in the potato thing and he's trying to get her pin because he grabbed it when he killed her. I like that scene. I thought it was really cool. I like the scene where the guy pulled the curtain and her face was like, ah! I mean, I'm not laughing at the Desi, but that was pretty funny though. I thought that was funny. I like how the cop was every time he was getting food from his wife with some weird ass concoction. It was like pig's feet on the dug. Oh my God. And then she gave the guy the drink and he drank it. He put it down and then she took it and she almost threw up. Like, I thought those scenes were like, I guess that was the humor of it. Like, since you're getting all this death, he put a little bit of humor with the cop. So I thought it was a cool balance because I thought it was funny. Every time they showed him to eat and she was, oh, we have dessert too. When he put the food back in the plate, I thought that was funny. And the dessert was even worse. Again, I thought that was funny. Like I said, everything worked very well. I just think I felt a little bored in certain parts. I was just like, man, this. And again, the first other movies that we did, I didn't get that boring feel. Like I was like, okay, it was a little slow, but it picks up. Like he picked himself back up. This was just like every movie so far. It kind of had the same boring beginning to middle part, and then it starts to pick up. Like, and this one felt like that. Like it just once they introduced it, killing people, then I was like, oh, it started to pick up, and I started to get invested. And then when I got heavy invested, and he gets caught, the stupid suitcase drops, and then it's like the credits go up, and I went, oh, Jesus Christ. I was like, dude, you're not going to be number one. You had me at number one, but now you just deducted number one. So with that, I gave it a 4 out of 5, and it dropped from number 1 to number 2, but like I said, it could flip-flop with the other one. But yes, Frenzy.
Okay, I like that review. That was good. You know what's weird, too? You know what's funny? watching these movies, and I haven't seen all of his movies, but I've seen at this point, I've seen a lot. And it's almost like you would think the earlier films might be more like these, like in that his earlier films have way more, I feel like they have way more dialogue in them. Like there's a lot more talking in all of them. These are like all of these. The potato scene, it's like 10 minutes, no talking. It's just like stuff. The movie I'm about to put at number what number is this? 2?
Number 2.
Also has some of these. My number 2 is Topaz. Also a 3 out of 5. So I agree with Alex. And like, if I feel like they're interchangeable, these, but the reason I rank them this way is what had the most amount of pros and the least amount of cons, even though they're fairly equal in my head. The funny thing with this movie is it has John Forsythe in it, which this is going to be a very deep cut that nobody knows. But John Forsythe, every time I see him, I think of Universal Studios, Florida, because he did one of those VHS tapes where it like shows you all about the park, and he's like walking around and narrating it. He had white hair, but his voice, like all I hear is him being like, "Confrontation, the new King Kong ride," where you, and so even in these movies, like that's all I hear in my head. So I just know him from that. I think this has one of the best sequences out of these 5 movies, with the the florist guy going to get the briefcase and get the photos and all that. I love that whole segment. I think that is like kind of classic Hitchcock suspense, where he's taking these photos and this guy's got to get this briefcase, and he's like creeping in, and he's like, "One more photo." He wants to turn around. He's like, "No, one more." And then the guy gets the briefcase, and he slowly walks out, and you're not sure if that guy saw it or not, but clearly he did. And then he sits down, and then you think he's going for it, but he's putting a paper in there. And then you think he's looking for it, but he's looking for that paper with the hamburger in it. And then you think, and he keeps like almost go, and then when he finally does, he's like, "Where's this thing?" And then they go and they find him, and then the guy jumps out the window, and then I love that whole sequence all the way to where he ends up back in the flower shop, and he's like, doing his thing. That guy never shows up in the movie again.
Yeah,
but he did his job.
I liked him.
Yeah, I liked him too. So yeah, I love that sequence. I think it's kind of classic Hitchcock. Other than that, I don't think anything else in here is classic Hitchcock. I agree, it's boring at parts, very boring at parts, where it's like, boring, I guess. I mean, they're slow. These are like really slow-paced movies, all of them.
All of them, yeah.
They're all slow-paced. None of them are quickly paced movies. They take their time, too much time sometimes. I kind of like the Cuba scene. I get what you're saying, Harrison. Like, they weren't there for a long time, but I kind of like that segment. Like, they torture those people. They're getting pictures of the missiles, and then he shoots her. And I love that shot of the dress, like how it goes out when she falls down. And like, there's some really good stuff in here, and I feel like there's more good stuff in here than the other ones. I don't love the ending. Again, not all. A lot of his movies, it's almost like they're long, and then the ending is rushed. Like everything happens in like 2 minutes, and then it's over. Goodbye. You just watch 2 hours, and the ending is 3 minutes. You know what I mean? So, I don't know though. I thought it was really good. I agree with pretty much everything you guys both said as well. I just ranked it here. But again, Family Plot could have went over this because that one made me laugh. Like, this one didn't make me laugh ever, 0 times. So, I mean, I thought it was solid. Again, a good spy SP. I thought Alex would like it a little more because of that, because I know he likes the spy stuff. But it's kind of boring. So I can also see why he didn't have it as high.
It reminded me of Moonraker.
Oh, yeah, okay. Totally.
It had the Moonraker. I told you, if I could name the Bond movies for each of these, I would. Like, if
it's Moonraker without the corny. At least nothing in here is like corny though.
Well,
that
it's
like
not going
cheesy.
Yeah, they're not in space.
Yeah,
they went to Cuba instead of space.
They went to Cuba instead of space, which at least Cuba is like possible to go there. Well,
it's a real place.
It's a real place. So yeah, to your point, Harrison, I heard that this is based on a novel, like a lot of his movies are. Yeah, but the novel is written by the French. The reason the French guy's the main character is because he was like the main character in the book. It was like a French operation that they did. So, I guess in that regard, he kind of stuck close to the actual. Yeah. Also, Topaz, it's kind of pointless, like what it is. It's the title. and they make it like it's going to be a big deal, but it's barely like it's get mentioned early, and at the very end, like what it is.
Last second. Yeah.
I'm like, oh, well, okay, I guess. But I kind of like the Cuba stuff because at least it's real life. It's based on real events.
Right. Well, yeah, they talked about the Bay of Pigs in it too, like real stuff that happened around then.
Yeah, so I'll put it second for that. 3 out of 5.
Nice.
Maybe I just hate the French. Maybe that's what it is.
What's your number 2, Harrison?
Okay. My number 2 is Frenzy.
Oh,
interesting.
Yeah.
Okay.
To me, this is
Marnie's
actually
number 1.
Yeah.
Huh?
I liked it, okay. No, this movie actually reminded me a lot of Blackmail and some of the early 30s Hitchcock movies.
Yep.
So I was really surprised with that. But it also has the stuff I hate, which is the 1970s. I think that's like the worst era of movies.
Oh, interesting.
Personally.
Yeah.
So it was kind of weird and jarring to me seeing like some of the camera angles and some of the stuff he would have done earlier, but then like the guy has a big mustache or like the horrible haircuts and weird suits and all of that. I was like, this is off-putting. That's a nitpick, but no, I actually really loved kind of how psychotic the serial killer was. Like he could easily put off that, oh yeah, he was telling his friend, oh yeah, you can hide at my place. You'll be totally safe from the cops and all that. And then until he gets him arrested. And it was really interesting. It was kind of scary too, because I think it's called dramatic irony, where the audience knows something that the characters don't.
Yeah.
So like we know right away who the murderer is, who the killer is. And so whenever we see him around other people, you're like, oh man, is he going to try and kill them? He's taking him to his apartment. Oh boy, here we go.
Yeah.
I could have done without the nudity. I'll be honest.
Oh no, you needed the nudity. No, you needed the nudity. That's why End of Days always worked because.
And it was body doubles for the 2 like older actresses. Except that last one that's like.
I get it.
Whoever she is,
whatever. But I'm not a fan of that anyway. But that's why I don't review movies from the 70s. But I actually really liked this movie. It reminded me the most of early Hitchcock. But I agree too. It's way too long. It's very slowly paced. I like that potato sequence, if you could call it that. But I don't know. I don't know if his inner thoughts would have helped or not. Just something, because he's just sitting in there for a while, and then he starts trying to find the little pit, the roach or whatever it is. I don't know. That could have been trimmed up a bit better, in my opinion.
Yeah.
Well, overall, most like Hitchcock, but I gave it a 3.5 out of 5. So it's not a perfect film. It has some flaws to it, but it definitely felt the most Hitchcock of the movies in this set to me.
Yeah, it's weird because with this storyline, like if you compare all the 5, I think this storyline for Frenzy is the most one that you could follow. You're like, oh, okay,
yeah,
but it still has the slow. It still has the problems that we have for all 5 of them. It's like, oh, okay. While the other ones are good storylines, it's just that it takes forever to get to it. While this one you already knew off the bat.
Right.
But I think what you said, piggybacking what you said on audience knowing, I think the problem with modern movies, even if you do the whole like the killer is, there's no more suspense anymore. Like the way he shot it back then, yes, you're like, oh my god, he's amongst everyone. Nowadays, even if you know the killer, you're just still going, okay, well, dude, like, move it along. You just like get to the point already, like strangle the damn girl. Like you're already anticipating what's gonna happen. Where I don't know, and that's what I'm saying. Like even if we talk about Hitchcock and now our generation, where we're so immune to death and seeing it on the internet 24/7. Yeah, so like nowadays, like. It's weird. Like I'm someone who's used to be scared of horror. Now I can literally sit down and just watch horror movies and be like, oh, okay. Because I'm already like, okay, cool. Let's get it going.
But make comedy horror now, like Zombieland. I just watched that for the first time the other day. super gory, but super funny.
Yeah.
It's a great movie.
There's not much of a difference between dying and laughing, I guess.
Yeah,
You know what I mean?
yeah. So like in terms of that, I could see what you mean though. But yeah. All right, number one. Now this is interesting for number one. Because I didn't think this was gonna be my number one. Like I said, I was gonna go with Frenzy until the stupid ending, and I was like, "Ugh, you bastards!" But I went with Torn Curtain on this one. I like this movie a lot, but it still had the boring parts. I didn't want the boring parts, but I'm gonna be honest with you. Within the it was like 30 minutes of boringness. After that, I was hooked into the movie. More than Topaz, where it's funny because they are kind of similar, but I was into this one a lot more. And I think it's because of the way Paul Newman, this is the first Paul Newman movie I watched. I never seen Paul Newman on screen. So,
really?
I never. Butch Cassidy and Sundance Kid?
No. Scott keeps telling me to buy the
Cars.
4K or the Blu-ray or whatever it is.
The Hustler? Great movie.
No, I never seen that one. No.
Cars 2?
Cars.
I've seen
He's
Cars
old
2.
Doc. He's
Who is
Doc
he?
or whatever.
He's Doc.
He's Doc Hudson?
Yes.
I've seen that.
You ever had Newman's own salad dressing?
That's true. That's true.
Paul Newman's salad dressing.
Get some Newman's own ranch. That's him.
No, but this is like my first time seeing. Now that you say that, now I'm thinking of Doc Hudson when he's talking. But he has more of a
Road to Perdition. You have
No.
to have seen that. Oh, okay.
No.
Because that's
Yeah.
more modern. But
No, I didn't.
He was old.
Like, this one is like the first time watching him. And Judy Andrews is like my second one because I saw her in The Sound of Music. Never seen Ms. Poppins or whatever she popped.
Oh.
But
whatever she.
You're not missing much. That movie sucks.
I wasn't too crazy with that. But I like this movie a lot. I thought this was really fun. I kind of got it. It was like man, I was like, Paul Newman's a douche. In the beginning, he was a douche. When he's trying to kick her away, and she goes on the plane, and he's like, what are you doing here? And he grabs her, and she was like, what? And she's so sweet. And I understand what Nate means. I don't think she was miscasted. I just think I understand why they got her. But another actress would have been 10 times better. But I kind of get it for the time period of 1966, why they got her.
Yeah, just after Sound of Music.
Yeah, it was like Oscar award winning, I bet, music or whatever. So I was like, okay, I get it. But I mean, everything from the fight, the fight in the damn kitchen had me on the floor when she stabbed him and he still had the blade here. I was like, all you guys have to do is push the damn thing in.
Right.
They didn't do that.
Yeah.
They were fighting and Paul Newman was holding him. And I'm like, damn, there's no punches thrown. I was just laughing, and then they threw him into the oven, which is what made me laugh because my wife was like, this is so dumb. And I was like, why? She was like, the gas is still creeping up. She was like, they were faint too. She was like, the head is just still in the oven, but the oven is wide open, pumping gas everywhere. So I started laughing. But I was like, this guy wasn't thinking about that. This guy just wanted to see people go, oh, he put
someone's head going in the oven.
Yeah, pretty much. So I thought that was cool. My favorite scene in this movie is when they're on the bus and they're escaping. And it was like the tension was there. I was like, oh my God, are they going to get caught? And then the first German guy comes in and then the guy goes, you want a cigarette? And he blocks him from the camera view. I was like, that is dope. I liked the way he did that. And then they get on the bus again and the old lady. Then you see the other bus. So I like the tension there. I like the school when he's trying to break out of the school, and then you see the other people help him come out, and then she was like, "Oh, let's ride the bikes," and I was like, "Oh, that's pretty cool." The ending in the opera, I kind of liked a lot too. Like when he was like fire, and then everyone's like panicking, and I was like, "Man, how did they really do that? Like in terms of like controlling that environment? Because that's a lot of extras." Bumping into like Paul Newman and Julie Andrews and to get into that room. So I kind of dig this movie. I like the plot that he was like, he was getting the formula, and I love that the guy was like, "You don't know what you're doing," and he's just there going, and he's just like, "All right,
what are you doing?" He's like,
"Yeah," he's just there looking, and then he just broke out. And like, I don't know. I really dig this movie, but it was just a little bit boring. In the middle, because I think once they start to escape and everything, I think for me, it picked up. I was like glued on screen. I was like, "Oh, this is really good." So I enjoyed it. I thought it was fun. Now, I don't know if you guys knew this, but this is the last movie that Paul Herman and Alfred Hitchcock ever worked ever again.
Bernard Herrmann.
Yeah, Bernard Herrmann. Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah. So Universal told Alfred Hitchcock to get rid of him for some type of upbeat music, and Hitchcock got rid of him. And after that, they fell out and they never worked with each other ever again.
Man.
So this was the final, I guess, the straw that this
Which
dude
is
makes
funny
no.
because it seems like every time he ends up doing that, they don't talk to each other anymore. Grace
Yeah.
Kelly, he's like,
you know what? It could
Bernard
be the
Herrmann.
way. It could be the way he does it.
yeah.
You know what I mean? It's like I don't think he does it in a diplomat. He's like, bro, your ass is out. I'm getting a new new composer.
Yeah.
Talk to you
Yeah.
later. And he's like, so
Didn't he have John Williams on Family Plot?
He did. That was
Yeah.
John Williams' first score after Jaws. So
Okay, yeah.
he
Oh,
got the
wow.
job off of that. And there was one of these movies that had which one was it? I feel like there was one that because that one, like, it was John Williams, but it's not a very distinctive score. You know what I mean? Like,
No, yeah.
like
it's not very
his touch.
memorable.
Yeah.
Frenzy. Yeah, I saw the two. That one, Harry Mancini. They got to do the music. It says on the little
Yeah.
card, but then they fired him because the music sounded too much like Bernard Herrmann. So not only did they not want Bernard Herrmann, they didn't even want his music to sound like Bernard Herrmann. Get him out of here! And they had someone
That's a
else do it.
fallout.
That's crazy.
That's
It's like,
wild.
you sound too much like the guy I hate. You're out.
Yeah.
Right out!
Yeah. So I thought that was interesting.
Bro.
Okay, well, number one for me is Frenzy.
Frenzy.
I agree with Harrison in that this is the most Hitchcock feeling Hitchcock movie out of these five. Hands down, not even close. Had this been made 10 years earlier, it would have, or 15 years earlier, it would have fit right in. You wouldn't have batted an eye. The story. Now, the interesting thing is, and this is not from the little card, it's just something I noticed, and then I was like, what the heck? This got to be a thing. And I looked it up. I love that it was in London. Only the third movie he shot in London after he moved to Hollywood, which was in 1939. So you had Under Capricorn, and then you had this one, and this was the last one, obviously, that he shot in
Was
London.
Rebecca?
No, Rebecca was a Hollywood movie. Yeah, everything after 1939 except for Under Capricorn, this, and what was the other one? There was one other one. I can't remember right now, but only three.
Shadow of a Doubt, maybe? Or no, Stage Fright?
Stage Fright. Stage Fright is
Yeah.
the other one. Yes, Stage Fright was in London. Perfect. So yes, I thought that was cool. I love the opening where it's like coming in and you see like all the sights from London and the bridge and all. Great. I agree with you guys too, with like this has boring parts, but the story's the easiest one to follow out of the five movies. Like there's no part where it's like I'm confused or what's going on there. Nothing. Very straightforward. It's a murderer, and it's you get some of the tropes, the mistaken identity. This guy's wrongfully accused. People think he's the one who did it. He's got to clear his name. He ends up even getting arrested for it and everything. Also, this movie displays to me that when we were talking earlier about like if these directors could work in later times, this was in the 70s where he had more freedom. He would absolutely be able to make movies like this. Murder, everything that De Palma ended up making, he would have just made himself. So I don't think it would have been an issue as far as like, technique, because this has my favorite shot out of all these four movies when he's gonna kill the bar, his friend that works at the bar, with the red hair, where the door closes and the camera literally just backs down.
Oh,
the stairs.
yes.
Yeah.
Fantastic. Yeah. I mean, that's like classic Hitchcock long take. And then you get the cut, when the person walks by. But still, I'm like, this is just like, I'm watching. I'm like, I love this. I know there's no dialogue. It's like, but as like a nerd, I'm like, I love that. And then this has the silent part, of course, the potato scene where it's like 10 minutes, no dialogue, just him trying to get this thing. So I feel like if they cut this a little bit, 2 hours too long. It's an hour 15.5. It's 2 hours. 2 hours is too long. This is a 90-minute story that's stretched out a little bit. I do think some of the humor works. I know one of the original writers left because they were mad because this had humor in it. And they're like, no, this is like a serious, like people are dying. And Hitchcock's like, I don't care. Like, I'm gonna put some black humor. So like the faces they make when they're dying, like Alex, like I don't want to laugh at dead people, but like I think it was intentionally supposed to kind of be over the top,
kind of goofy. Yeah.
Yes, and also the wife with the cooking cracked me up. He's like,
was
"What's in this soup?" He's got that soup. He puts it back in, and she's telling her. Then she makes those little tiny little chickens. They're like, with grapes. I'm like, ew, that doesn't even sound good. And
It's
then
so
later
dry.
she makes the other thing with like cherries, and he's like, this is disgusting. So I thought those parts were kind of funny. I gave it a 4 out of a 5. I don't think it's like top tier Hitchcock, but I think it's the best that he did when he was old. You know what I mean? Like, I feel like
the rest.
Yes, this is the best of the rest for me. Like, I feel like he tapped into his best sensibilities. Yes, his only movie that goes rated R. So it has nudity in it. But you know, the killer is like it's a sexual deviant type of thing. So it makes sense. But yeah, I feel like all his movies would have been rated R. Honestly, if he made Psycho in 1975, it would have been rated R. You know what I mean? So yeah, I like Frenzy. I genuinely like Frenzy. I remember liking it. I feel like it fits in with his previous stuff. So yeah, that's my number 1.
All right. Well,
I can't believe this.
I'm gonna defend my number 1 here.
I can't believe this.
Oh man, what's
my number 5?
My number 1 is Marnie from 1964.
Tell us why. Let us know
why. I liked Hitchcock when he was working on the studio sets. I know it's cheesy, looks dumb, but it feels the most at home for me. Like, I felt like I was watching Vertigo or Rear Window or one of those.
The Birds,
right? This felt the most like in that era. This definitely feels like the end of that era. It's like it actually should have been the last movie he made, honestly.
Wow.
Even though I really like Frenzy, but
yeah.
I actually really like Sean Connery and Tippi Hedren. I thought they worked well. I don't like that scene though on the boat. That was rough. But we could skip past that, right?
Sure. It's a big character moment, but we'll just pretend like it doesn't happen.
Yeah. No, I don't know. I just really liked their banter and whatnot. And for the most part, he cares about it. It reminded me actually of Rhett Butler and Scarlett O'Hara a bit, where they're kind of tense with each other the whole time.
Gone with the Wind? Is that Gone with
the Wind?
Oh, but but Clark Gable's hilarious. Like, he just
Clark Gable's funny.
He really gives it to her, like, verbally.
Yes.
Yeah.
I don't know. Maybe I just really like Sean Connery too. He's one of my favorite Bonds. I was like, he seriously should have just made a Bond film because he literally has James Bond in his movie.
And he acts just like James Bond in the movie. He's rich.
No, he does.
He has I think 2 of the suits that he was wearing was in 3 other Bond movies. I was
like the Goldfinger one. Yeah.
Yeah, the gray suit. Yeah, so
yeah. And I know the effects were kind of cheesy, but I kind of liked the her seeing red and freaking out and all that. I don't know. It made me feel the most at home and like, oh yeah, this is just another Hitchcock movie. And same with Frenzy, right? Those 2 felt the most like, okay, I'm watching a Hitchcock movie. The other 3, though, I was like, if I didn't know Hitchcock made it, I probably wouldn't be able to tell you it was a Hitchcock movie, honestly.
I agree with that. that. I feel like even the genres, like, don't even feel like Hitchcock movies at all.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And even the music, I'm pretty sure, well, maybe he didn't have Bernard Herrmann do
Bernard Herrmann did this one.
He did do this one. Okay.
Yes.
Yeah, he did.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, because Alex was just talking about that. But
it was after this one that they got mad.
Yeah, it was in Touring Curtain was the one that he didn't hire him. Yeah.
Okay. It's the one after this.
That's why they titled that, because their friendship was the curtain. It was
torn.
It was torn. Their marriage was torn. Yeah.
That's why.
I don't know. I also was thinking too, which is the one I'd most likely rewatch. I think it's this one. I think I would rewatch it because it kind of fits in with like Dial M for Murder and kind of those films
I love that
more.
movie.
I love that movie too.
Yep.
To me, like I could easily see myself watching this one kind of over the rest, even Frenzy. I don't know. I want to watch anytime soon again.
Yeah.
I would see Frenzy.
Yeah, I wonder why, Alex.
Although, you know what? I will say
Two
for
reasons
Frenzy,
why.
I know
I was
Alex
shocked.
didn't-
I was
know
shocked.
Alex didn't like the end with the thing, but I like the end of the movie overall because I like that scene where he goes in there, beats he like hits that lady in the head.
Oh, that was
and then
funny.
the dude walks in and he's like, no. I was like, oh no, this idiot.
Not again.
It's gonna be And I like how the killer keeps killing whoever he just was with. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, oh, your ex-wife dead. Oh, this lady dead. I don't know.
Yeah.
He's toying with him. I wish there was a little more interaction between the two of them because they were friends.
See, my thing is like I wish the ending, the cop had the gun. Like you know how you walk in slowly, had the gun, and then he's there and he's like, "No, I didn't do it." And then you hear the steps, like whatever, and then when he opens the door, you have the gun pointed at him. Because I kind of get that you have to put your imagination like what happens when the credits roll.
They're gonna arrest him.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
like even in the same situation like Nate's part that he was talking about, which I liked also was the cameras backing out. You already assume that he's killing her. Like so
Right.
you see the door locked and you already know. And what's cool though, you didn't even hear her struggling or nothing. It was just dead silence. And so you kind of
Right.
knew what was gonna happen. Like I kind of liked that. It was pretty cool. But the ending, I was like, you gotta give me a little bit more context. The guy is a cop. Give me a gun or something. Because I was like,
Right.
this guy could just run down the stairs.
You're
Like,
under
literally.
arrest, sir.
Yeah. So or blow the whistle. Murderer.
Right.
But yeah, it's funny because out of all of these, Frenzy to me is the most memorable one. But still, like the other four, I did enjoy. But I mean, I could rewatch again his friend. I could rewatch Frenzy. I could rewatch Torn Curtain. Marnie, I could watch. I think my wife would like that one more because she likes those type of films. So like Torn
My
Curtain,
wife definitely would too.
yeah. So like Torn Curtain, and I forgot the other.
I agree though with Harrison, like the studio thing, because that's one of the reasons why I ranked The Birds higher than you guys, because like it just felt like shooting on a studio. It did not. A lot of these are all like on location, like they're out in the streets. Especially like Topaz is like doesn't never look like they're on a studio.
Yeah.
Torn Curtain, they're running around Europe and all this kind of stuff. And that one literally, she goes to visit her mom, and there's like a painting of a boat.
It's a giant map
like
yeah.
a gigantic,
Yeah.
and you could see it. And I
like,
kind of like that.
map paintings.
Yeah, I kind of like that too. I did not like when she was riding the horse though. That looked so stupid. It was like,
Oh no, yeah,
Look,
that looks
that
so
was-
bad.
that was
Yeah.
Pretty rough.
it looked like
almost-
she's going slow, but that screen is going fast.
And when,
That was
when the horse hit the wall and she fell,
Yeah.
Oh,
that was
that was rough.
and
Yeah.
she landed on a patch of grass where you could tell it was like a pillow, and she's like, "Oh." And
What
she
did you
gets up.
score this one?
Yeah.
Oh yeah, I gave it a 4 out of 5.
Dang,
Ooh.
I gave it a 2.5.
I mean,
I think I gave it a 3. That was my
Yeah.
number 3. Yeah, so I give it a 3.
I think these movies are interesting. And you know, the crazy thing is Hitchcock, like, if I was I know why this box set exists the way it does. Because Universal had distribution rights for all these movies. Some of them were made with Universal, some of them were made with Paramount. And North by Northwest was made with Warner Brothers, but Universal had like domestic distribution rights while they had international. So like, I know why these 15 are in there, but like, I wish there was a way, because he worked with many different studios. You know, he did stuff with like David O. Selznick early on, and he did stuff in England. So it's gonna be impossible probably, but like if I can make a perfect box set, I don't think Frenzy might sneak in as like his, like I'd put it as like the last sort of,
or his movies.
the last of the ones that felt like they belong, but definitely none of the other four would be in there. Not one of them would be in like a all-time Hitchcock box set.
So you mean like his legacy collection?
Yeah, like
Okay.
if you could say like out of
Greatest
53
hits.
movies, the 20 best, and maybe Frenzy wouldn't even make that list.
Yeah.
It would be more so like this feels like the other ones, so we'll put it in. But like, there's so much other ones that are not in here. They're available, but you know, Rebecca. You mentioned Rebecca. I love that movie. I think it's fantastic. Suspicion, fantastic. Notorious, like all of those are better than all of these.
Oh,
you know what I mean?
100%.
Even The Lady Vanishes, which is really old, where he's on the one on the train. I don't know if you've seen that one. But she's like a spy and she's on a train. And it's only like 80 minutes or something, but it does all the stuff that these do, but in a way shorter amount of time. And there's like a shootout at the end. And so, but it was still fun. It's still fun to watch these, but this is easily the most boring. It took me forever. I feel like I watched these movies all in one day and it felt like 100 hours.
Yes, it did feel. I saw these in a span of like 3 days, and I felt like it was like 10. And plus, I had my kids. It felt like an 8-hour each film. I was like, oh, but
and Family Plot felt like an episode of Alfred Hitchcock Presents, like a
It did
long
feel like
episode.
a TV movie for sure.
I agree.
I put my order of all of them. You want to hear
All
what
15?
they are? Yeah. You want to hear what they are?
Okay.
So my last one. So I guess the last number 15 or whatever is Trouble with Harry.
Okay.
Topaz 14.
Oh, wow.
Saboteur 13.
Oh, okay.
Family Plot. I'm going by the ones that I know I'm never watching again. So that's why I'm looking at these. Marlene, like I said, my wife would like that one, but in terms of taste, I had to put them there. The Man Who Knew Too Much.
Oh man, I love that one.
Shadow of a Doubt.
I love that one too. What the heck, Alex?
The Birds.
Oh, I'm the only one who really likes.
You're the only one,
but I think it's pretty good.
North by Northwest.
What?
Yeah.
What number are you at?
Yeah, what number are you at?
Like 8 or something?
Oh yeah, I should have
Like
said
in the
my
middle?
numbers, right?
Okay.
So I'm up to my last 6. So this
Okay,
is
so that was number 7. So
Yeah,
that's
that's
halfway of 15.
Yeah,
Okay.
so that's my number 7 from North by Northwest. Number 6 is Frenzy. Number 5 is Torn Curtains.
Whoa.
Number 4 is Rear Window. Number 3 is Vertigo.
Okay.
Number 2 is Rope.
Psycho.
I really like this movie a lot. And number 1 is Psycho.
I should
for me.
guess.
Yeah, that's my number.
Well, dang, I didn't do that, but just looking at it, 1, 2, 3, 4. I gave 4 out of the 5 out of the 15 a 5 out of 5. Perfect. So, I mean, those are my top 5. Those are Rope, Rear Window, Vertigo, North by Northwest, and Psycho. So, I've always loved Rear Window the most. Like, it's always been my favorite.
Yeah.
So if we're ranking like favorite, it would be that. Then Psycho, then Vertigo. I ranked Vertigo higher because I think it's better than Psycho, but if we're just going pure favorite, Psycho second, Vertigo next, then Rope, then North by Northwest. And then the rest I would have to think about because they're all like, I give them all like
it's
3s and 3.5. So, you know.
Oh,
I don't know. I'd never seen most of it. It's very interesting watching these. I never seen these things. So I was like,
Harrison,
wow.
at least your top 5. What like
Yeah, I'll
what's
do my
your top
top
5?
5. So let's see.
not Marnie.
No, not Marnie.
Not Frenzy.
Not Frenzy. Okay,
Dirty 70s.
here we go. Got Rope is number 5. We got Man Who Knew Too Much, number 4. Vertigo, number 3.
All the James Stewart movies.
North by Northwest, number 2. Rear Window, number 1.
So 4 of the 5 are the James Stewart.
I really like James Stewart and Cary Grant. Those are my two
Also,
favorite
those are all great movies. So it's like no one can really
No.
tell you anything. Those are they're all top tier.
Well, no horror in his
No
top
Psycho, though.
5.
Yeah, he don't like
Yeah,
Psycho.
no horrors. He likes
Psycho's
no
number
horror.
6. Psycho's number
Okay.
6.
Frenzy is more like Psycho
Yeah.
than anything else. Like as far as if you
This
broke
list.
these all up into like double features, Psycho and Frenzy would be like
Good
a solid double feature because they're both about serial killers.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, I'm not saying they're exactly the same, but they're most similar in genre. Just Psycho's not funny, and this one has some like dark humor.
Yeah.
Well, it's crazy because most of all I noticed out of the 5 that we did, most of them, all of them are novels. This is based off a novel.
A ton of his movies.
Yeah,
I think got to be at least out of 53, 45 got to be based on books.
Yeah.
At least.
Pretty much.
Yeah,
all of
and
them.
he didn't
Or
write at all.
Play or,
Yeah, he was not a writer. He was strictly a director. So he would have these writers. He would work with the writers, and I read like there was some time where they would clash and they'd get fired, but he didn't write, and he liked the actors to stick to the script, but he had to like the script. So he was more like Spielberg in that way, because Spielberg wrote, I think, maybe one or two of his movies. The rest, not a writer. I'm just here to like shoot it.
He's a visionary.
Yeah, he's strictly that. So, but yeah, these are. I mean, it's 15 movies. This box set, The House of Hitchcock, for everybody who didn't know what we were doing by this point, and I would say at least 10 of them are like very worth your time, and the other 5 may vary. However, you would rank them.
Yeah,
I agree with them.
They're good. But
they're good to great. 10 of them are good to great.
Yeah.
And 5 maybe fall decent. I don't think any of them are horrible.
No.
At least there's that.
Well, Family Plot's horrible.
Marnie. That was my lowest ranked out of all 15. So
Really?
Trouble with Harry for me. I did not get.
That
one was better. Rough. At least it looked nice. It looked better than Marnie.
Beautiful.
Yeah.
Vermont.
Yeah. They had all them the VistaVision.
Yeah. Love VistaVision.
The Technicolor.
The apple cart, and that guy crashes into the apple or the apples and stuff.
Yeah. Yeah.
Pretty good.
Yeah. So, one more time, what is your worst overall and best overall for this whole set? I know we kind of talked about it a little bit.
Okay.
Pick
your
like,
what was your
best?
worst at 15 and 1?
Yep.
Again.
15 and 1.
15 and 1. Ooh. I just mixed my cards.
Your 15, I think, was Trouble with Harry.
I think it was.
My number 15 was Trouble with Harry. My number 1 was Psycho. But yeah, it was it was Trouble with Harry, Topaz, Saboteur. Again, I'm not saying these were bad. It's just I had trouble with them. Like Trouble with Harry was like a dark comedy, but I was just not into it as much. But it did look nice on 4K.
That had John Forsythe in it too.
Yeah.
From Topaz. Yeah, he was the main guy.
You're right.
Topaz and slow, but a cool espionage. But it depends on your taste if you like the slow buildups. Then you got Saboteur, which I wasn't feeling, but I kind of liked the ending in the Statue of Liberty scene. I thought that was a pretty cool scene. Family Plot. Comedy heist, very Pink Panther-ish, but I was just like, eh. Marnie, I kind of liked the premise and everything. Slow again. So once it gets to the plot, I thought it was pretty good. The Man Who Knew Too Much, I kind of liked a lot. It was pretty cool. And I think I wish they remade this with like a comedic actor that's serious and comedic with a female actress that could do too. Like I could see Sandra Bullock as the wife. And the husband could be, I don't know, whoever the hell it is, but I can see it.
Some funny person,
some
funny guy.
Yeah. Shadow of a Doubt. I kind of like the story a lot of this, but I had to put them in order. So Shadow of a Doubt is really good. That's the one with the uncle that was like a mafia dude or whatever. He kills his wives. Yeah, that was actually pretty good. The Birds. I don't like the damn Birds movie. I'm gonna be honest with you. I'm not a fan of it. North by Northwest, I thought it was pretty cool, and I liked the Mount Rushmore scene. Those were pretty cool, and his faking his stuff. Frenzy was cool. I like the killer Austin Powers. I liked him a lot, and a lot of the I thought it was pretty cool. When you shocked me with that stuff, I was like, whoa. Torn Curtain, I really like Torn Curtain a lot. I thought it was pretty cool. Reminded me of a Bond movie. I think that's why I like it a lot. Rear Window was fun. Very iconic, and it's all shot in one location. Like they built the damn thing, so I like it
in one location.
Pretty much.
Apartment, yeah.
Vertigo, I really like Vertigo, and I love that nightmare sequence. I don't know. Yeah. I think that's the best sequence out of all his films. Is that nightmare sequence of James Stewart in bed? And then Rope is my joint. I don't know why I gravitate to Rope a lot. It reminds me of a Clue movie.
Yeah.
But better and serious. Better. And then, of course, number 1, the iconic. I mean, the Psycho. I mean, that Psycho house. If I would love to live in it. That would be come visit me.
Motel?
No, not the hotel. I love to live in the house.
Oh, the manor.
Yeah, the manor. Dudes come up to
my house.
Haunted
too. I see it. It looks haunted.
It looks haunted.
All right. Yeah. My 15, Marnie. I mean, I just think it was boring and it made the hero bad, like look bad. And it was tough, and I would never really recover after that. Like before that, I was into it a little bit, and after that, I was like, I don't like you anymore. And my one is Rear Window. I just love that movie. I've seen that one in Psycho the most out of like all his movies. But James Stewart's great in it. Grace Kelly, gorgeous. All the cast is good. I love the location. I love he's a little bit of a creep, but he's into it. What he's gonna do? He can't walk, and it ain't like nowadays where you got like a 60-inch TV so he looks out the window and and they kind of make up the stuff like, what is that person doing? And I just love the whole setup of it. I love the premise. So yeah, it's always been, since I've seen it, it like became my favorite Hitchcock movie. Like I saw Psycho first, and that was my favorite. Once I saw Rear Window, I was like, that's my favorite. And then Psycho's like right, like 1A, 1B, if anything. But out of this set, 15 Marnie, 1 Rear Window.
Okay. Family Plot, Rear Window.
Family Plot.
I hate that movie so much. I never want to see it again.
Looked like she was 10 years old.
I thought it was a kid.
You didn't like when she finds the diamond at the end when she's actually a psychic?
No, it was stupid.
The guy's like, hey, you really are. And then she's like...
And she winks at the camera. No, I hate that. I hated that so much.
And then Hitchcock did it on the poster for that movie. He did the wink. Like, if you look there.
Oh, goody.
He liked it so much that he did it himself on the poster. So that was kind of funny.
Yeah. He was senile at that point. No.
It's crazy. None of us have the same... Oh, no, we have the same number 1. But no one has the same number 15. So
yeah.
There you go. I wonder what KB would have ranked 15 and
I know. I should have asked him ahead of time.
What's his? I think Psycho is probably his number 1.
Yeah, I think most likely number 1.
Definitely Psycho for
I remember
sure.
him. Yeah, but I feel like Marnie wouldn't be his number 15.
No, probably not.
Maybe the Birds. I think he didn't like the Birds that much. I'm trying to remember the ones he did. One of these might have been the bottom for him.
I think so. Yeah,
it could be Trouble with Harry.
Yeah, he didn't love that one either. That's true.
Yeah,
that one was terrible.
We'll have to ask him offline.
Yes, and I'll attach it to the
yes
chat down below so everybody can see it too.
Sweet.
Hope he's enjoying his birthday.
Yes.
All right. Well, that's it, everybody. That's the end of the House of Hitchcock series. I had a lot of fun with this, just like Nate and I did with the Frank Capra series. That was awesome.
Oh, yeah.
And next year, I'm going to do this series again, and I already have picked out the 15 films for that. They're just not in an actual collection, though.
It's a Hitchcock again?
It'll be House of Hitchcock again. Yep.
House of Hitchcock, the second floor.
That's right. The basement.
The basement. Yeah, you should come up with a title like that.
I think I will.
Hey, let me know because I would gladly watch.
Yep.
Unless you're looking for someone else, but if not,
no,
I would gladly watch 15 more. Or I've probably seen maybe what you're gonna pick. I don't know.
Yeah. Well, that's kind of my hope with all this is to see his whole filmography. Because I own all of his movies now on my Plex server. Won't tell you how that happened.
Don't worry about it.
But I have all of his movies, and I'm wanting to see them all because I've only seen. I think that makes 25 now. So
all right, real quick before we go, let me just look at his filmography because it's 53 movies. And there's even silent. He did silent films as well. So
he did. A couple of them don't exist anymore, so it won't actually be his full.
Thank God. I know The Lodger has a Criterion, so I know that's out there. Okay, as far as the ones I own or have seen, Blackmail. We did Blackmail together, right?
We did, yeah.
Yeah. Okay, yep. Blackmail. I've never even heard of some of these. The Original Man Who Knew Too Much. Yes. Mm-hmm. The 39 Steps. Yes. Sabotage.
I like that one.
No, not Sabotage. I've never seen that. No. The Lady Vanishes. I have seen and I have. Rebecca. Foreign Correspondent. Suspicion. Saboteur. Shadow of Doubt. Lifeboat. Spellbound. I have. Notorious. I have. Rope. Stage Fright, Strangers on a Train, which I've never seen, but I have. I Confess, Dial M for Murder, Rear Window, To Catch a Thief, Trouble with Harry, Man Who Knew Too Much, The Wrong Man, Vertigo, North by Northwest. The rest of these are all in the set we just did. So I have a good amount, but there's some holes in there. So I'm interested to see what you picked.
Yeah, and it'll probably be early next year, because my next series is going to be the Frank Capra collection, or not Frank Capra, sorry, the Clark Gable collection.
Oh, that's right, Clark Gable.
Called Gable's Gals, because he worked with a lot of the same actresses, like Joan Crawford. He did 8 films with Myrna Loy 7.
Nice.
So I'm going to be going through that series there, and then after that, I'll do House of Hitchcock, The Basement.
The Basement. Part 3 will be The Attic.
In the attic, yeah.
The Attic of Hitchcock.
Yeah. Nice.
But yeah. Before we go, do you guys have anything you want to plug for your channel?
What we got? So I just released the Should You Upgrade for The Good, the Bad, the Ugly, which I put against the new Arrow release versus the Kino Lorber. But I did the international cuts because the Kino Lorber is only the theatrical cut, and the international cut is the theatrical cut for the US. There's nothing different on that. I didn't do the extended cut. Then I put it with the Blu-ray. So it's weird because the Blu-ray is the extended cut, so I had to find the scenes that I was using and then line them all up so you guys can see the Blu-ray versus the 2 4Ks. In case you're like wondering what the Blu-ray looked like after these new restorations of it. So I did that. Right now there's a poll going on the channel to pick the next Should You Upgrade, because a lot of people DM me for the new Texas Chainsaw Massacre 2003 for Arrow Video, and then a lot of people want me to continue doing the Alfred Hitchcock. So I was like, and they want me to do Vertigo. So I was like, you guys vote for the next one, Vertigo or Texas Chainsaw. And Vertigo. Then I'll just do it.
Vertigo looks
amazing. So,
and we got next Sunday, not tomorrow, but next Sunday we are ranking the Indiana Jones franchise live with Scott. Joe Joker's Movies will be joining us to review and rank all 5 Indiana Jones films. And then the week after, it doesn't come out yet, but the week after that, we will be starting our reviews for our new version of Director Spotlight. We're bringing that show back. So it's kind of like this, but different because it is full filmography. We used to do it as a one live stream. So we've already done Christopher Nolan and David Fincher and Mel Gibson, James Cameron,
Catherine Bigelow.
So we're starting. Yeah, we will now be releasing them as weekly podcast style shows. They'll go up every Friday once we record them. They'll go up every Friday, and we will be starting with Steven Spielberg. So we'll be starting with Duel and going all the way to The Fabelmans. So every Friday will be one movie, and it'll be myself, Alex, and our buddy Evan will be joining us for that as well. And maybe we'll have other guests like as we go through. If there's like a very popular movie that someone loves from Spielberg, maybe we'll have them on. It's going to be roundtable style review, pros, cons, score, and at the very end, we will do a collective ranking for that director, how we used to do, and how we do with the franchise. So Alex, myself, Evan they'll give me their scores. I'll tally them up, and we'll determine the Geeks and Flix ranking for Steven Spielberg, and then we'll be doing other directors as we go along. Hopefully this does well. I mean, I got a lot of people, and I know Alex has had people ask him, like, when is that coming back? But it's hard to do directors that have 30 movies in one show or even 2. So I'm like, why watch 15 movies in a week when we could do one at a time, give the movie what it deserves, review the movie, talk about it without having to rush. And so that's the approach we're going to take. So look out for those. They should be coming out. What was the date we picked out? I think like the second Friday in September, I think is the first episode. And then every Friday after.
And they're in seasons. So season 1 is Steven Spielberg.
Yep.
We're gonna take a week break from watching movies,
at least a week, and then season 2 will be. Maybe we'll do a poll. We'll see what people want for season 2.
And
But it'll
then,
be someone with less than 30 movies.
yeah.
I'll tell you
We're
that.
trying to. We just wanted to kick off with the big one. No, I think we said season 2 is going to be Tony Scott because we wanted to finish off.
Yeah, that's true. And I feel like we should
yeah.
just restart it.
Yeah, we'll restart.
We'll redo the first
because
batch.
I don't remember it.
Yeah.
And season 2 would be Tony Scott. Then the third one, everyone
We'll do a
will
poll.
put. Yeah, season 3, everyone will poll. So
Harrison,
first
if we get to a director that you really love or that you
Heck
wanted
yeah.
to
or
dive
movie,
in on,
if there's a
or
movie,
one movie, let us know.
Put me down for 1942. No, just kidding.
Oh, the Spielberg,
Just kidding.
his comedy,
Yeah.
1942.
Mm-mm.
I can't
I've
wait.
never
to
actually
watch that.
seen that.
How about The Terminal? That's another comedy.
I never seen that one.
It's
It's gonna be fun. I'm really excited because it's my favorite director. So,
That's
I'm
awesome.
looking forward to. But all the people who asked, y'all better watch because we're doing it for you, and it's gonna be a 34 week project. But
So
it's gonna
will
be
it
fun.
be YouTube exclusive?
So
be-
it's gonna be a podcast to go. You could take it on the go. So it's gonna be Geeks and Flix presents. It will be Director Spotlight, but I'll put the logo up. But it's Director Spotlight audio, and then on the YouTube channel is going to be the video. So you got a
okay.
choice of watching it, but
You
I'm
do
not
one.
editing.
No,
I'm not gonna go heavy editing or whatever. I'm gonna put
it's a
graphics up.
podcast.
Yeah.
So
The podcast, I'm gonna just let it go. I'll clean up the noise background and stuff, but I'm not gonna go heavy editing unless there's like 20,000 ums. Then I might have to cut that out. But when it comes to video, I'm gonna put the graphics up. Whatever movie we're doing, I'm gonna put whatever around it.
put a little.
But
poster.
yeah, I'm gonna put like the poster or whatever, and then go from there. But yeah, it's not gonna be like a heavy. But you have a choice of video or audio. So that was the idea they had, and then breaking them up into the seasons works best. So you don't have too much catalog of stuff. Like listen to episode 500 and whatever of
Yeah.
So at least you
Yeah.
could go. Hey, you want to check out? Let's say James Cameron. James Cameron could be season whatever 2.
Or for us to not have to watch like 12 movies in 1 week. Because we're doing the
Oh, that's
action
nuts.
podcast, we're doing the franchise rankings, we're doing, and then to add on top, also we got to watch 15 Spielberg movies for this first half of this. He got kids. I don't got kids, but I got things to do. I got to go outside. So, I felt like this was the best way, and I think it's the best of both worlds. You'll get your video podcast if you like to laugh with us, and if you're on the go, it will be available just as a normal podcast.
Yep.
Yeah.
So-
I'm excited to check it out. That's gonna be awesome.
Yes. So that's what we got
All
coming up.
Yeah.
All
pretty
right.
much.
Well, make sure to follow them down below, guys. I have all their links, as well as KB Loves Movies. I follow his stuff too. And
Yes.
you can follow me Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, YouTube, Really Old Movies. I talk about the classic Hollywood era from the silent era to 1965. And I try to do live streams like this to show more old movies so that more people can experience them as well. So I think we'll easily forget them if we don't talk about them.
True.
So-
Well, you can easily forget the 5 movies there.
You can ignore these five.
That we did.
or what was it? Rain or Shine from the Capra collection. You can forget
Yeah.
that movie too. Leave
That
in the-
movie's great. I've
in
been
the dustbin of time. That movie,
The spin up time.
it was horrible.
it's so good. They have 2 versions on there.
Leave it.
Oh my god, that is a funny thing.
Yeah.
The spin of time. Oh, that's
Yes.
funny.
But anyways, this has been Really Old Movies. I'm your host, Harrison Scullin. These are my co-hosts, Nate and Alex. Take care, everyone.
Later. Do 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 do.